For those who feel like a sailless boat amidst a stormy ocean, this story is the breeze guiding you to safe harbors. If you feel ensnared in the net of unemployment, let these words be the knife that cuts the threads. Chapter 1. The River, Without a Current. In a small town nestled at the foot of a mountain, there lived a man whose soul felt as heavy as a stone. Unemployment had turned him into a river without a current, a being who had lost his vital flow. Each morning, he woke up with the hope of finding a job that could breathe meaning into his life, yet each evening he returned home empty-handed, his heart growing heavier still. "My life is like a river that's lost its current," he mused, staring at the starry sky through a window of his humble dwelling. Stagnant and directionless, like water that no longer knows where to go. In that moment of reflection, a thought struck him like a bolt of lightning across the night sky. He had heard tales of a Zen master who resided atop the mountain, a man whose wisdom was the stuff of legends. Perhaps, he pondered, he might hold the answer I seek, the key to reignite the flow of my inner river. With a blend of hope and desperation, he began to prepare for the journey. He gathered a few essentials: a walking stick to aid his climb, some food, and a blanket. As he prepared, whispers and legends about the Zen master filled his thoughts. It was said that the master had the power to transform lives, to make inner deserts bloom. But could he really help him? Could any man, no matter how wise, restore the current to his stagnant river? With these thoughts, he commenced his trek up the mountain. Each step he took felt like a step toward himself, a minor shift in a journey of self-discovery that he was yet unsure where it would lead. The path was rugged and fraught with obstacles, yet he pressed on, propelled by an inner strength he didn't know he possessed. As he ascended, he began to notice changes in the landscape. The trees grew sparser, the air thinner, but more than anything, he noticed a change within himself. It was as if the mountain was speaking to him, whispering ancient truths he had always known but never understood. Perhaps, he thought, the answer I seek is not just at the top of this mountain, but also within me. And so, with a heart light yet filled with anticipation, he continued his climb toward the Zen master's hermitage, toward wisdom as ancient as time and as fresh as the dawn of a new day. He didn't yet know what he would find up there, but one thing was certain: he was already beginning to find himself. In this chapter, the protagonist embarks on a journey not just to a physical destination, but also toward a deeper understanding of himself. It's a journey we all must undertake, a path that can be challenging, but is essential for finding our true purpose. And like the protagonist, we too may discover that the answer we seek is closer than we think, hidden deep within our being, waiting to be unearthed. Chapter 2. The Ascent to Wisdom. The trail leading to the mountain's peak was strewn with rocks and roots, a path that seemed intent on challenging the man's every step. The air grew increasingly thin, and his lungs struggled to capture each precious breath. But it was his mind that faced the greatest trial, that of doubt. Why am I doing all this? He questioned himself more than once. What if the Zen master doesn't have the answer I seek? What if all of this is for naught? In those moments, the temptation to turn back was strong, almost irresistible. But each time doubt sought to envelop him like a fog, he thought of the image of the river without a current, of his stagnant life, and found the strength to press on. After what felt like an eternity, he finally reached the small hermitage nestled among rocks and trees. The Zen master greeted him with a smile that seemed to illuminate everything around him, as if he already knew the depths of his torment without the need for words. "You've arrived," said the master, "but in truth, your journey has just begun." The man was invited to sit on a simple fabric cushion. The Zen master began to prepare tea with fluid, precise movements, as if each gesture was a sacred ritual. The man realized that the simple act of drinking tea was a teaching in itself, a moment of total presence, an opportunity to open the mind and heart. "This tea," said the master as he poured the steaming liquid into the cups, "is like life. If you drink it hastily, you miss its flavor. If you drink it with presence, each sip is a universe of sensations." The man savored the tea, and for the first time in a long while felt truly present. It was as if the weight of unemployment, expectations and disappointments had dissolved, leaving room for a moment of pure existence. "Now that you're here," said the master, "are you ready to learn to be like water?" The man nodded, feeling that the master's words were like a key ready to unlock a door within him, a door he had always known was there but had never been able to open. "Very well," said the master, "let's begin, for wisdom is not a destination, but a journey, and each step on this journey is a step toward freedom." In that moment, the man understood that his ascent up the mountain had not been merely physical, but also spiritual. He had faced the demons of doubt and fear and had overcome them, not through force, but through awareness. And in that small hermitage, under the benevolent gaze of the Zen master, he felt ready to embark on the greatest journey of all, the journey within himself. So, as the sun began to dip behind the mountains, painting the sky in shades of gold and orange, the man felt as if he had just begun to live. And he knew that whatever the future held, he would be able to face it. Because he had learned to be like water, and water always finds its way, even through the hardest of rocks. Chapter 3. The Weight of the Soul. The wind whispered through the leaves of the trees, and the silence of the hermitage was broken only by the babbling of a nearby stream. The man, with a heavy heart, sat across from the Zen master. Their eyes met, and in that instant, everything seemed to come to a standstill. With a calm and deep voice, the master posed a question that resonated in the man's soul. "What is the weight that burdens you?" The man lowered his gaze, searching for the right words. "It's unemployment, master. I feel lost, as if I've lost my purpose in life." The master nodded slowly, as if he had already known the answer before it was even spoken. "Your mind is clouded by the murky waters of society. But tell me, have you ever observed a river?" The man pondered for a moment, then replied, "Yes, master, but I don't see how." The master raised a hand to interrupt him. "A river flows freely, overcoming every obstacle in its path. It doesn't worry about where it will go. It adapts to whatever shape it finds along its journey. This is the true meaning of being like water. It's not just a metaphor, but a way of life." The man felt a pang in his heart, as if those words had touched a hidden wound. "But how can I be like water when I feel so lost?" The master smiled gently. "The answer is simple, yet it requires practice and dedication. You must learn to let go, to flow with life rather than resist it. And the first thing you must do is stay here, with me, for a week." The man hesitated, but then nodded. He felt that there was something profound in what the master was saying, something that went beyond words, and he knew that to find the answer he was seeking, he had to fully immerse himself in this experience. And so, as the moon began to glow in the night sky, illuminating the stream that flowed beside the hermitage, the man felt a wave of awareness wash over him. It was as if the master's words had opened a door deep within his being, revealing a universe of possibilities he had never considered. The Zen master, observing the change in his face, smiled and said, "You see, the water within you is already beginning to move. But remember, the first step is always the most challenging and the most liberating. Now, are you ready to walk the path of water, a path that has neither beginning nor end, but is an eternal flow?" The man stood up, feeling for the first time in a long while a sense of lightness. He understood that the weight he felt was not a burden, but rather an anchor keeping him away from his true nature. And in that moment, he knew he was ready to let it go, to become the river he had always longed to be. Chapter 4. The Here and Now. The days with the Zen master followed a steady rhythm of contemplation and action. Each morning the man was awakened by the songs of birds and the scent of incense wafting through the hermitage. It began with silent meditation, sitting beside the master, eyes fixed on the dancing flames of a small candle. These moments of stillness were a balm for his troubled soul, an opportunity to step away from obsessive thoughts about unemployment and immerse himself in the present. After meditation, the master guided him in simple daily chores, gathering firewood, tending to the garden, cleaning the hermitage. Each task, no matter how mundane it seemed, was an exercise in mindfulness. When you gather wood, be with the wood. When you water the plants, be with the water and the plants. the master would whisper. And the man began to understand. Every action, when performed with full awareness, could become a form of meditation. One afternoon, as they sat under a blossoming tree, the master handed him a small bell. Every time it rings, stop. Breathe. Observe what surrounds you. Feel your breath, listen to the sounds, notice your thoughts, and let them go. The man began practicing this exercise, and over time, developed a deep awareness of the present moment. The bell became a bridge between the external world and his inner realm, a constant reminder of the importance of the here and now. As the days passed, the man began to notice how his perception of reality was shifting. The trees seemed greener, the birdsong more melodious, the air fresher. He realized it wasn't the external world that was changing, but his perception of it. He had learned to see the beauty in the little things, to feel gratitude for every lived moment. One evening, as the sky was painted with the colors of the sunset, the man sat beside the master and, with teary eyes, said, "Master, I've been seeking employment to give meaning to my life, but now I understand that the true meaning lies in living each moment with full awareness." The Zen master smiled and replied, "You've discovered the secret of the here and now. Life is not found in the past or the future, but in this very instant, and in this instant everything is perfect just as it is." And in that very moment, the man felt the weight of his soul lighten, as if he had finally found the key to break free from the chains that had bound him for so long. Chapter 5. The Lesson of the Stream. The stream meandered gently through the valley, its melodious sounds creating a natural symphony that soothed the soul. The man and the Zen master sat on its bank, their feet immersed in the cool, clear water. The sun shone through the trees, casting golden reflections on the water's surface. The man watched the water flow, noticing how it gracefully maneuvered around the stones, adapting to every obstacle without ever coming to a halt. It was a constant flow, a dance of adaptation and movement. The master, noticing the man's deep concentration, said, "Do you see how the water doesn't fight against the stones in its path? It doesn't try to break them or move them aside. It simply envelops them, caresses them, and continues on its way." The man nodded, savoring the master's words. "I've always thought my life had to follow a specific path, but now I see that my mental rigidity has prevented me from seeing other opportunities." The Zen master smiled gently. "Rigidity is like a rock in the middle of a river. It may hold its ground for a while, but eventually the water will erode it. Be like the water. Don't resist changes. Adapt to them. Life is in constant motion, and you must move with it." The man closed his eyes, feeling the cool water flow between his toes. A sense of peace enveloped him, as if he had finally grasped a fundamental truth. "Thank you, Master," he whispered. "Now I see that my job search wasn't just a quest for employment, but a quest for understanding and adaptation." The Zen master nodded. "When you return to the city, remember this lesson. Don't try to force your way, but be open to the infinite possibilities that life offers you. Like the water, find your flow and adapt." With that lesson in his heart, the man prepared for his journey back to the city, armed with a new perspective and renewed hope. He knew that, equipped with this wisdom, he could face any challenge with grace and resilience. Chapter 6. The River Finds Its Flow. The man returned to the city with a lighter heart, as if he had left a heavy burden on the mountain slopes. The streets that once seemed like labyrinths of despair now appeared as pathways of possibility. With the Zen master's lesson still fresh in his mind, he decided to apply the wisdom he had gained, to be like water, to flow and adapt. Instead of seeking a specific job, the man began to offer his skills in various ways. He repaired a neighbor's roof, fixed bikes for the neighborhood kids, and lent a hand in a community garden. He tutored children in math, helped a family move, and volunteered to do grocery shopping for the elderly. He took on small painting jobs, assembled furniture for friends and acquaintances, and even cooked meals for a family in need. Each action was an expression of his new life philosophy, not to fixate on a single type of work, but to adapt and flow with the circumstances. The community began to take notice. People talked about this man who, despite not having a steady job, seemed to possess a wealth of spirit that transcended money. Slowly, job offers began to come in. They weren't permanent positions, but small tasks that, when added together, formed a mosaic of opportunities. The man realized that in this way he had created not just a stream of income for himself, but also a stream of purpose and meaning. One day, while walking along the river in his city, he noticed that the water flowed freely, without obstacles. In that moment, he understood that his inner river had also found its current. He felt a deep sense of gratitude and realized that his true occupation was that of the soul. Every moment, every encounter, every opportunity was an invitation to grow, to discover, to be. And so, with a heart full of gratitude and eyes open to infinite possibilities, the man knew he had found his true path. He was no longer a stagnant river, but one that knew how to adapt, overcome obstacles, and nourish life along its course. And in that recognition, he found not just a job, but a new way of living, a way that made him authentically happy and deeply fulfilled. Chapter 7. Water Never Stops. The sun was on the verge of setting when the man received a letter sealed with a delicate silk knot. He immediately recognized the Zen master's handwriting. With trembling hands, he opened the letter and began to read. Each word resonated in his heart like a familiar melody, taking him back to the days spent on the mountain, by the stream, under the watchful eye of the master. My dear disciple, when you first came to me, your spirit was like a river that had lost its current. Now I sense that you have found your inner river and it flows with renewed strength. But remember, water never stops. Keep flowing, nourishing the earth and giving life to everything it touches. So must you. Life will present you with new obstacles. Be like water, adaptable and resilient. Each challenge is a step toward new discovery. Face each moment with grace, and you will find that your current will never run dry. With love and wisdom, your dear Zen master and eternal friend. The master's words brought back every moment of meditation, every shared glance, every laugh, and every lesson. He realized how much he had changed. He was no longer the desperate man who had started that journey. Now he was like water, capable of adapting, flowing, and finding his way through every obstacle. Sitting in his small garden, the man reflected on his life. He had learned that, like water, he should not stop at obstacles, but find new ways to flow. He had learned to see opportunities in every situation, to be present in every moment, to live with gratitude and awareness. Looking up at the starry sky, a deep sense of connection washed over him. Each star shone as a reminder of the infinite possibilities that life offered. He had found not just a new way of living, but also a profound understanding of the natural rhythm of existence. Like water that glides over a rock or makes its way through a crack, he knew he would find his path, nourishing life and lighting the way for others. A serene smile lifted his lips. The Zen master's lesson was as clear as the night sky. Life, like water, is in eternal motion, and in that motion resides a wisdom that transcends time and space. A wisdom accessible only to those who, with open hearts, allow themselves to be guided by the flow of life. As the starry mantle enveloped the world in a silent embrace, the man drifted off to sleep, carrying with him the certainty that, with each dawn, he would welcome the opportunity to flow with grace and determination, just like the unstoppable water of a river. Life is a river that flows relentlessly, and like water, we must learn to flow through obstacles, adapting and transforming ourselves. Unemployment is not a sentence, but a passage, an opportunity to discover new ways to express your worth. The true occupation is that of the soul, and every moment is an opportunity for growth and discovery. We are not defined by a title or a role, but by our ability to adapt, to flow, and to nourish the life around us. If this story ignited a spark of newfound perspective in you, if it made you see beyond seemingly insurmountable obstacles, then hit that subscribe button. Here, you'll find not just stories, but keys to unlock doors you thought were closed forever.